Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Right, we're balling out today, baby. We are balling out. We're going for beautiful glass Canon luxury gaming PC. We got the 3080. We got the Ryzen 7, guys. Don't even worry about that. This, actually, just hold on a minute. This build is going to be too good for these horrible glasses. Let me get my slightly shinier glasses. Oh. Tropical, because there's going to be a little bit of a tropical hint to this build, which you'll see later. But let's check out what kind of magic we're going to be conjuring up today. We're going for a glass cannon, super cool sunglasses style RGB fest. It's going to be fun, so let's go through it. Parts list, of course, build time, gaming time. All this is all going to be built in, guys, so stick around. It's going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to be amazing. Right, so let's talk about our design concept on this one, right? So case, starting with a Corsair 4000X, right? So 4000X comes in black, it also comes in white. The white one is sort of like a clear side panel, very clean, very crisp. But the black one is like very dark. The glass is sort of misted in black. It looks very cool. It looks very sort of smoky. And that's what we're going for today. So it's going to look absolutely amazing. We're going to be putting in the RTX 3080 Gaming Z Trio, which is one of the sort of higher end MSI versions of the RTX 3080. Got this on a really good price. I think I paid about, I want to say £760, something like that, which is pretty nice for a Gaming Z Trio. CPU wise, we got the Ryzen 7 5800X. Really, the reason I went for Ryzen instead of the Intel here is I wanted to keep this whole build under £2,000 because it's really nice to get a really nice high-end rig under 2K. And it wasn't really possible with something like an Intel i7. So the Ryzen 7 5800X, 8 cores, 16 thread, but it's really fast, guys. You're going to be getting fantastic frame rates in this, no problem whatsoever. Cooling this, we have the H100i by Corsair, the Capellix, the new lot is the 240mm liquid cooler. It should be enough to handle the Ryzen 7. The motherboard we're using is the MSI B550 Gaming Plus, so I consider this like a mid-range board, but the thing is about the MSI B550s, even the mid-range boards will even be fine to run the Ryzen 9s because they're so well built. So we'll have no trouble whatsoever using the Gaming Plus here. And it's actually a great board. Looks really nice as well. You know, it's got I/O shield, USB-C, all these kind of extra little things you don't get with the cheaper boards. Memory-wise, we've got 32 gigs of DDR4 3600 CL80s, Corsair Vengeance RGB-RS. I love the RGB-RS. It's like just a nice straight line of RGB. None of this curvy rubbish. None of these extra little flecks. Just a nice clean line. It looks really, really cool. And whenever you're going for 32 gigs of RAM in a high-end system, try and get it over 4 lots of 8. Mainly because it looks nicer with the 4 sticks of RGB, but you're also more likely to get dual rank memory, which can sometimes give you a few extra percentage points in performance. The storage we're using is actually a new one. I've not used this before. It's the 1TB SanDisk Extreme Pro. Now you might know SanDisk producing things like SD cards, things to do with cameras, but they also do a pretty nice job of creating NAND flash as well. They're actually owned, I think, by Western Digital. There's some kind of collaboration there, so I have no doubt that this is going to be great, and it's touted to have good performance. It's got lots of DRAM on board, so it's going to do a really nice job of keeping the PC ticking over beautifully. Now our power supply, of course, like always with our high-end builds, we like the Corsair RM series, don't we? RM 850, 850 watt gold, giving us plenty of breathing room to run this graphics card. But the star of the show, perhaps, maybe apart from the case, will be this rainbow cabling, which I had custom made for these kind of specific builds that come out from our JCPC Customs shop here. And the good thing about this rainbow cabling is not only is it rainbow cabling, it's also got all 3 8 pins to the graphics card combed together, so it just looks like one continuous wave. It looks really cool, as you're going to see in the results in a minute. And speaking of the results, let's get straight to a build montage, and I'll see you on the other side, ladies. Bye-bye.
All the things I try to wash away, they've been waiting for my walls to thin. I feel it on my skin, and now the ghosts are flooding in, trying to drown me in my former sins. Let the panic in my lungs begin. I feel it on my skin. A shiver and a shake may take me, but I will still return. The memories that haunt me, shape me, a product of the burn. When I'm underneath the surface, I can shut my eyes and focus so I can see. Underwater, hear the rumbling of my former ego mumbling. Can you hear that too? Or maybe it's just me. A shiver and a shake may take me, but I'll still return. The memories that haunt me, shape me, a product of the burn.
Oh, now that is a machine to write home about, isn't it? Absolutely spectacular. It came out exactly how I wanted, if I do say so myself. Now, like I always say on the channel, like, yes, I put them together and I know to choose the parts, and that is, you know, most of the skill in building PCs is knowing which parts to choose that are going to look nice and going to perform well together, but most of the credit's got to go to the guys that actually produce these components, because, you know, without that, whatever skill I've got is completely useless. Looks absolutely amazing. All the RGB syncs up really nicely in IQ. I'm almost speechless. It does look so good, and I think I'm so glad I got those custom rainbow cables made. They really do add that extra bit of zing to make this a unique system. I don't think anyone you know, if you were to get this system, would have this cabling, and it is something that is exclusive to JCPC Customs, so maybe you want to go and check out the website. But that aside, gorgeous, gorgeous system. Loving the look, especially with that glass panel on it. Gives it that really smoky glass cannon look that will look awesome, especially like a dark mahogany desk. I'm thinking these kind of things could look absolutely amazing. Looks one part of the equation. We've got to think about performance as well. And with all that glass, sometimes people can worry about temperatures. So let's talk about the temperatures. So CPU running Prime 95 for half an hour. We're running that alongside the video card test as well. Get the maximum heat swelling through the system. We did hit 90 degrees on our CPU temperature test, which is not ideal, but to be honest, it's not unexpected. The Ryzen 7 5800X is known to be one of these chips that is quite hard to cool. So 90 degrees, whilst it sounds high, isn't really that bad. Especially with the Ryzen's boosting behavior, is that they will continually boost and boost and boost. So if you've got one of these high-end chips, Ryzen 7s, Ryzen 9s, they will typically get to 85 degrees, even on something like a custom liquid cooling loop. I've seen them go that high just because of the way they boost. So whilst 90 degrees is not ideal, it's not really awful either. We could improve this by maybe going for a 360mm radiator and chucking that on the front. But I think with balancing looks, performance, I think I'm pretty happy with how this one's turned out. Our equilibrium temperature, or it's sort of like a plateau temperature that ignores the big spikes, 85 degrees, which is high but still respectable. Let's talk about the video card temperatures this time. So we're going for a 30-minute benchmark run, and we're getting 79 degrees C on the video card, which again is not ideal. So it's a little bit high, but it's not awful, guys. So if you're running this test and you're getting like 87, then you've got a bit of a problem. At the moment, we're running on 79. Now, I think if I'm right, this graphics card has a dual BIOS on it. So if you switch it to the sort of silent BIOS, you'd probably get a lower temperature. But these Gaming Z Trios, they are clocked a bit higher, so you might expect slightly higher temperatures. But then again, the cooling solution is supposed to be able to handle that. So I would have liked for that to be a little bit lower, perhaps around sort of, the mid-70s would be a bit more ideal. But at 79 degrees, you're not going to get any thermal throttling. It's absolutely fine. I think part of the problem with this one is that on the 4000X case, you don't have much breathing room through the front, so you're not supplying a huge amount of fresh air through the front of the case. Whereas if you go for something like 4000D airflow with that perforated front panel, then at this point we're getting great airflow to the front. It'd probably make those temperatures a little bit better. So if you're going to use this as a build guide, you might want to consider the Corsair 4000D airflow instead, but remember you'll need to buy those additional RGB fans because they don't come for free with the airflow. Moving on now to some benchmark tests. Heaven benchmark, average FPS on the extreme preset 257.7 with a score of 6493, and yeah, very, very high-end performance. You know, this is about, we're getting to nearly double the performance of a 3060 here, so you're definitely getting your value's worth. Moving on to Shadow of the Tomb Raider, 1440p resolution, highest preset, no DLSS helping us out here, and we're at 150 FPS average, which is pretty much bang on the money. 1440p high refreshes, really where that RTX 3080 is going to shine. We also had a little bit of extra time to run a Red Dead Redemption 2 benchmark on this machine. We don't always do it, it takes ages, but we managed to get 174 FPS average in this, running on the highest settings at 1440p. And, you know, Red Dead Redemption 2, it's a couple of years old, but it's still a pretty hefty title, so I think getting that nice high refresh rate experience at 1440p is not to be snorted at. So that's a lot of the more intensive games handled. Let's talk about Apex Legends, esports gaming title. We're going to play on 1440p, everything's set to high settings, and our FPS average was 230. Considering, you know, that this is on all the highest settings at 1440p resolution, I'm very happy with that. So, you know, if you're one of these people who's got that really fancy Alienware AW27 monitor, you know, 4040p, 240Hz, this is exactly the kind of situation. You've got to be absolutely loving it. And you can actually see, you know, we're worried about the temperatures before, but now that we look, we're playing in a real game here. Our GPU temperature is only in the low 70s, CPU temperature is only in the sort of the high 60s, so there's really nothing to worry about, and it's easy to get scared by those stress test numbers, but don't worry about it. When you're actually playing games, it's nowhere near as bad. Fortnite is that game, it's that bad smell that never goes away, but it's so popular, we gotta test that baby up, and we're getting great performance, 1440p. This is everything on low, but with the draw distance set to high, because a lot of people that play Fortnite are playing competitively, want the maximum frame rate. We're getting around 330 FPS, which sounds about right. You're definitely CPU limited in this scenario, and I use the word limited very loosely because there's not very many panels out there that are going to be stretching past this FPS rating. So fantastic performance, but I expect nothing less from this system. I think even if you put like 3060 Ti, 3070, you'd probably end up getting the same frame rate because you are CPU bound when you're trying to run at these low settings. Some closing thoughts then. So the build looks amazing. I really, really love the look. I think that glass cannon, you know, style, that design language works really well. All the components really do mesh together very nicely, and those rainbow cables, man, they really do complete the look. Probably our only detractor was temperature testing wasn't ideal, but remember when we were running Prime 95 and these GPU stress tests, that these are called worst case scenarios, right? So this is where everything is just pegged to 100% forever and ever and ever, right? When you're actually playing the games, you can see from the MSI Afterburner overlay in all the games that those temperatures are nowhere near that when you're actually using it for gaming. So don't worry too much about temperatures. People get really stressed about it. Go, oh, my temperatures went up by 3 degrees. So what? It doesn't really matter. The critical point is, if you're gaming and your CPU is hitting 90 degrees consistently, then you are going to get a little bit of a slowdown, right? If you start to hit 100 degrees in gaming, then that is bad news. That's not great. There's probably something wrong with your cooler. Video card, right? If you're hitting over 80 degrees whilst you're gaming, then you are going to get a bit of a slowdown. If you're going over 90 degrees, really, really bad, right? But besides this, there's no reason to stress about it. All right, so that's my lesson for today. Just don't worry. Relax, play your games, turn the monitoring off, and just have a bit of fun. Anyway, that's the end of the video. If you like this one, perhaps you like this one about another beautiful black-themed RGB build, but if not, that's fine as well. You know, we've all got busy lives. Like, subscribe, comment, share, ring the bell to see our next video. And thank you very much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Goodbye now.